Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Illinois. This is one of the more unique ships in the entire game. Battleships, any ship in the game. There's nothing really that plays like Illinois. So if you're interested in this, it probably is worth picking up. I'm not going to say that for the vast majority of these Research Bureau ships and whether they're worth getting or not in 2025. The amount of regrinding you have to do to get the required research points, this one 51,000, is a lot. It's very, very time consuming to grind through, and you have to regrind lines you've already got through. And I don't find that all that appealing, to be honest with you. But Illinois, very unique. We get an Iowa hull here with an underwater citadel. They moved the citadel down even lower, alongside what are essentially Des Moines guns. You don't quite have that DPM, but you actually have more DPM than a Buffalo, which is the same tier heavy cruiser counterpart. Which means you're kind of insane. The ship is able to push in and out DPM most ships at its tier. Even against tier 10s, you can do incredibly good work here. The builds, I did try out the max DPM build with Halsey. We're going to activate pretty much every DPM buff you can get outside of Arms Race on this ship and go to town. Although I don't necessarily recommend that build. It's a little bit too risky. And more importantly, you miss out on accuracy upgrade. That's going to be the downside of this ship. Your accuracy is not cruiser accuracy, it is battle cruiser accuracy with 1.8 Sigma. So even though you have 12 guns, you do struggle when running reload mod with this ship. I found myself having much better games usually with the accuracy upgrade. As much as I want to go max DPM, this game here you're going to see it with that accuracy upgrade, and you're noticing our shells are pretty accurate. But watch when we get to the next match, you're going to see the dispersion. It's pretty bad. It is pretty bad, but very fun ship to play this one. The other unique feature to this ship is that you have the improved heals. Not all the American battleships that are premiums get the improved healing that we see on the tech tree line. So the Iowa, Montana, North Carolina, the heals there heal you back 18.5% of your HP. A standard heal is 14%. Something like Alabama still has that standard 14% heal. Illinois, though, does get that 18.5% heal. So you do have strong healing here. It does have the 80-second cooldown, so it's not like the Massachusetts, Georgia, and Ohio with the 40-second, but still a very, very nice heal. You do definitely want to be shooting a lot of AP. I tried farming with the HE, and that can be good. You have okay fire chance. The HE and the AP shells here are the exact same as you're getting on Des Moines, Buffalo, Annapolis, so they can farm pretty well, the HE here. But the improved pen angle AP is just too good, man, and honestly resulted in much more consistent damage. I found the fire chance to be rather inconsistent while playing it. I think probably I got a little unlucky in some of these games to not get the permanent fires that I was hoping for. It should land quite a few more than I was getting, but the AP, I mean, Broadside Rochester, yeah, that's gonna be a triple set. And another reason that I would recommend you run accuracy upgrade in the 6th upgrade slot. It feels a little bad to give up on DPM, but for that dispersion, that ability to nail citadels on cruisers, it is just too good. Illinois is a ship that will struggle into up tiers, I find. Even this Nagato getting some very good damage in on us. Our firing angles are actually 30 degrees forward, 30 degrees backwards, so very, very good firing angles. But even at these angles, we're going to still take quite a bit of damage to this Nagato. And I've got a clip to show you later on where we are fighting a Shikishima. It did not go well for me. This ship does struggle with its armor, and its superstructure is quite large as well. So if we're pushing in, trying to get closer to deal with these poor firing arcs, or the shell velocity here is quite poor, it's going to take a lot of damage in return. You have to isolate those fights 1v1s, much like brawling battleships, or even like a lot of these higher DPM cruisers. You want to be using island cover to isolate fights. Unfortunately here, actually missing some salvos. I don't know where these went. How did that miss? I mean, I'm aiming at above his deck line, and those shells still went low somehow. Good old aiming system. The problems really show themselves when, well, it's battleships, because you do have longer reload times, so you can dwell on the aiming system screwing you over a little bit. But the other thing is slow shell velocity tends to make a lot of the problems with this aiming system a lot worse. With higher shell velocity, it seems like you don't have as much of an issue. And with slow shell velocity here, we're seeing that a lot more. The aim assist, as well as island aim bugs that Wargaming refuses to, doesn't know how to fix, will be in this game. And Illinois definitely does struggle with that. We're up to a pretty solid damage amount already here. This Leon has been spamming the HE at us, which is nice for the Furious that I am taking here. And I'm going to greed out some extra reload because of that, but I'm probably taking a little bit too much damage to letting the fires burn. A little too greedy for that extra DPM here. But he's going to turn broadside. He's on low enough HP that we should manage to take him out. This is a best case scenario, probably. Almost a perfect scenario. Not that we get to Brawl necessarily in this one, but against tier 7s, yeah, we're going to do pretty well. The ship is absolutely insane. We're out DPMing all the cruisers, as well as having Battleship armor, tier 9 Battleship HP pool, heals. It is insane in these matches. Fortunately, we do manage to survive here on pretty low HP. I'm really wishing I had more heals in this match. I was greeding out some damage builds here, and I did not take the extra healing. I didn't think I would get through it, but oftentimes in these best games where the matches are close, down to the wire, I take damage early, and I need to heal it back just because the playstyle I have is probably too aggressive. These are the games I wish I had the extra heals, and honestly, probably should be taking some extra heals instead of trying to greed something like Furious. But it is fun. We managed to pick up the Kraken there. A little bit of securing going on. I mean, well-deserved kills going on. This is a good ship to farm out Krakens and certainly farm out Confederates with Halsey. Anytime you're trying to use Halsey and maximize your reload, Confederate always needs a ship with good damage output on multiple targets. So slower reloads on battleships can be more difficult. Where with higher reload and good AP, good HE, it really allows you to do that 20% damage into 6 targets a lot easier. So even here with the Chongmu here going dark, we get 4 shells into him out of 12. Not amazing, but that's still going to do some pretty solid damage here because, again, it's 203 HE, and there it is, the Confederate. Just enough with those 4 plus the next 2 there to get that 20% damage in. That's 6.2 second reload on 12 guns. Keep in mind that Des Moines only has 9 guns and has a 5.5 second reload. Annapolis, which is the super cruiser for that line, has a 5.5 second reload on 12 guns. So here with some AR, and this is still running accuracy upgrade, we have 5.8. We nearly have stock Annapolis DPM right now. Yes, I am basically dead. But this is a tier 9 ship with battleship armor. It is crazy. It is crazy what this thing can get up to. And honestly, this isn't even the max DPM build. Getting our 6th kill there. Yes, definitely a pretty solid match of secures going on here. Nearly 2 million potential damage. I say that the armor doesn't hold up all that well. Certainly at closer range, the Iowa hull is not amazing these days. Yet I got some decent potential damage out of this ship, so maybe it's a little better than I think. Perhaps it was just some of those closer range engagements that I was taking and taking a little bit too much damage than I should have. Nice couple citadels there again on the Yarsfeld, and managed to finish them off. 7 kills to start with, Confederate. Yes, so this is a fun, very, very fun ship. There's really nothing like it in the game. I guess they're testing a tier 10 version of this with British hull and guns, cruiser guns on a battleship. We'll see how that thing goes. They're thinking about giving it smoke even, which is crazy. That's something about Illinois. You don't get a spotter plane. You don't get any other consumables. No hydro here, so pushing into torps can be a big problem. It's got to have you need weaknesses for a lot of these ships. No smoke here either, which is a good thing. We don't need these ships to be busted overpowered. This ship is already crazy enough as it is. You're going to notice the shell velocity here is very, very bad for these longer range engagements. That's why we don't usually want to be taking too much range on the Des Moines line. It's hard to hit. At 20 kilometers, you get like a 16-second lead time. Even at 17 for this Pomeranian, it is very, very difficult to land shells here consistently. So running range mod can be useful in the third upgrade slot to give you that slight boost to your accuracy. That is it was data mined a long time ago that more range does technically give you better dispersion, even if it is hard to notice. It's maybe more placebo than anything, but you can take it. Here, though, I'm opting to run secondary upgrade. Yeah, we're running the secondary range plus close quarters combat to give us 10% reload whenever someone's spotted within our secondary range, which in this case is Valparaiso. He's going to be able to heal through a lot of what we can throw at him, but we're also running the reload upgrade. So you're going to notice dispersion is a little interesting at times. The salvo before that one was not so good. Here again, not amazing, but at least at these ranges, we can guarantee damage into his upper belt. Sticking with the AP because we need to get pen damage, not damage over time into a Valparaiso. We can stay broadside, so the secondaries really aren't going to do too much damage to us. As well as that Citadel of ours being below water means I don't really have to worry about Citadels from this guy. I'm not a huge fan of that design, personally. I wish more ships had Citadels. They're going for the unsaturated or less saturated bow. Nearly 14k alpha from that last one, and we out DPM, we out trade a Valparaiso at close range. It's possible. How busted is Illinois? At this point, we only have a 6.3 second, I know, only, but 6.3 second reload on this mostly maxed DPM build. We're going to need Furious to kick in. We're going to need to get our Confederate here soon. There it is. 5-second reload on 12 guns. We have better DPM than a base Annapolis right now. Come on. Give me the Furious buff. We already got close quarters. There it is. 4.4 second reload. We're getting low, obviously, but this is the theoretical max DPM without those arms race buffs. It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Sticking with that AP, sailing broadside because we don't have a Citadel. Again, not a huge fan of that design. Look at that. Pomeranian can't even kill us there. Insane. He got a full salvo off at close range. We managed to just barely survive, and we got a lot of DPM there in a very, very short time. We got a lot of damage in a very short time there. So we nearly get 200k out of that one in, what, 5 minutes or less? We went from 50k damage up to nearly 200. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a very, very fun ship. It's very different. It's unique. And really no other ship has this experience. I wish less of these ships were locked behind such difficult resources to grind. At least this one is a time commitment, where steel is a bit of a competitive requirement. Oh, there it is. There it is. Main turret destroyed. Yeah, there's some unfun mechanics you got to worry about still, even with a ship so unique and fun like this one. Permanently destroyed turrets. Des Moines turrets are not the strongest in the game, and certainly when a Shikishima somehow lands multiple shells at once into your turrets, he can just perma them outright. I looked back through this footage and I actually didn't have any of my turrets knocked out prior to this. So he just one shot permanently destroyed my rear turret there. Very fun. Very fun wargaming. I'm sure glad that you've designed this game with those mechanics in it. That is sarcasm, by the way. I can't believe that permanently destroyed turrets are still in this game. I don't want to do this all the time, but I'm going to bring it up every once in a while. The Russia server, the old Russia server, they split it off or whatever a few years ago, of course, and they've removed the permanently destroyed modules. Even secondaries in AA don't get perma-destroyed. They get temporary knocked out. Like, why? Why is this still a thing, wargaming? Surely we can fix this. Also, maybe we could look at the randomly given turret and module HP at the start of battle. Depending on which battle you're in, you just spawn in with turret HP randomly assigned. It's not a set value. How are they able to balance a game around that? I don't know. Maybe they just don't. But, you know, wargaming and game design is a bit of a struggle for them these days, unfortunately. Here we're going to see, though, back to this ship, The armor, not exactly hold. Even though we do have 38mm upper belt and deck armor, which will auto-bounce Shikishima AP. Our bow is 32, which he overmatches. He won't be really citadeling us, because again, the citadel's below water, quite a ways below water. He's still going to get a lot of full pens into us. And more importantly, our superstructure is massive. At these ranges, very easy to hit. So this Shikishima will likely do a lot of damage into us. Yes, there's also an Alaska farming us, but most of the damage, yeah, most of that damage is from the bow on Shikishima, I think. Although, you know what, that was a pretty good salvo from that Alaska with that HE. Trying to light the permanent fires, he did damage control there when the Hipper was still, I think his Hipper got a fire or something like that. We get the second fire, but not before the first fire burns out, yeah. I was a little disappointed in our fire chance here. I was also a little annoyed at how quickly I was done. There we go, there's some bounces. But trying to get those permanent fires, multiple permanent fires, it's really the only way we can deal with this guy. And we just can't quite manage it. Our HE is still doing some decent alpha damage into him, but the fire chance I thought would have been a little bit better on this one. It is quite a bit higher fire chance than, or at least fires per minute, than even Buffalo gets. The Buffalo is 10.1 fires per minute. We get 11.2. It's a pretty significant increase. It's like 10% more fires per minute. And we didn't see it there. It's RNG at the end of the day with fires. So that's why I like the accuracy build with AP more so than going for outright DPM and less accuracy, maybe relying more on our HE and fire chance. Here again, going with the mostly accuracy build. We do still have close quarters combat, and I actually do still have Furious in this one, but we're just swapping out the reload upgrade for accuracy here. So just with close quarters combat, we're down to an 8-second reload, which is still very, very good. And we're going to see that accuracy come into play much more so. Even with just our bow guns, look at that accuracy. Battle Cruiser Dispersion is pretty good, but with the 11% dispersion upgrade module we can have on these American battleships, I just value that a lot more. Again, we're pushing in, and we got really good matchmaker in this one too, but I like to overpush probably with this ship. I love the close range, getting that Des Moines gun DPM into play here. This ship probably would do better if you played a little bit more patient and used its outright DPM advantage to win games. If I had stayed behind the islands, that kind of thing, on this cap, we wouldn't be in Valparaiso's secondary range, giving him his heals back. We could just farm him down peacefully from outside his range, but I just love pushing in within this game. It's so much more interesting when we get into these brawls for me personally. So if you're playing the Illinois, just know that while I have shown you mostly clips where I am pushed up very close, assuming you can lead Des Moines guns at longer range, the DPM here will be very, very powerful at those longer ranges. I just personally don't enjoy that playstyle as much, so I tend to push in like this in the early game and try and make something interesting happen. But having essentially between Buffalo and Des Moines DPM at tier 9 here on a battleship hull, it's going to be very hard for you to die if you're playing at 15 kilometers, you know, 12 to 18 kilometers, let's say, and just maybe pre-kited HE spamming people. It's kind of lame. I don't want to judge too hard. If you enjoy that playstyle, fair enough, but to me that feels a little lame. I much prefer getting into the action of this game, but you can do it, and people certainly are going to do it in the Illinois and have pretty solid results farming. It just does rely on your teammates getting the spotting for you, and you're really not tanking all that much for your team. You do still have battleship armor and HP pool that you can be using. So here we're taking a lot of damage, but it also means our teammates aren't the focus of the enemy fire, which is oftentimes a very good thing. You can't always rely on your teammates, and oftentimes your teammates are going to take more damage than you would. If you're pretty good at this game, you're knowing when to angle, where to position to avoid most damage, and hopefully that means you're getting more potential damage for the actual damage you're taking. The destroyer behind us, I'm not paying attention to right now. Probably should be. Fortunately, our Flint is able to take him out. Yes, there's those torpedo indicators that I'm not paying attention to. And I think our Massachusetts must have been going at full speed and then slowed down. he certainly was torping the Massachusetts. Unfortunately for us, they were those multi-purpose torpedoes, and they actually do end up clipping us. Yeah, the damage output from torpedoes into this one hurts a lot if you're pushing in. No hydro does make this ship struggle at these closer ranges here. AP though, yeah, the damage is just so nice at these closer ranges. I had a blast playing this one. Much like Sicilia, I had a good time in Illinois and Sicilia to start off this Research Bureau series. And while Sicilia was pretty similar, bit of a side grade, maybe a downgrade compared to Colombo, depending on your perspective, there's really nothing like Illinois. And because of that, I gotta say, this one, while it is going to take you a while to grind it out, is worth getting if you're at all interested in battleship play with high DPM cruiser guns. As for the build here on the Illinois, I did settle for the DPM on the commander as well as accuracy on the upgrades. I found that to be the most fun. Perhaps not optimal. You do have to watch not dying with this build, but getting the DPM is really nice alongside accuracy. I do think this 11% is just too good to pass up. Getting the AP on target and being able to pinpoint either citadels on cruisers or upper belts on battleships, really important for maximizing DPM. Yeah, you don't shoot nearly as often, but if those salvos are netting you much more damage, I think that is a trade-off worth taking here. The reload is still very, very quick, especially if we take some things like secondary mod. No accuracy upgrade here. Range doesn't really give you enough accuracy to be noticeable, in my opinion. Technically, it does help. Technically. But I don't think it's something people can notice. We only really knew that it helps accuracy after people data mined it. So that tells me that people weren't noticing that beforehand. Maybe they were, but I certainly wasn't. And I don't think most people I knew were saying that back in the day before we knew via the data mine. So taking secondary, or, you know, you could do turret traverse. That is another option if you want a little bit quicker turret traverse on these guns. But the reason for secondaries is this, okay? Double secondary range gets you 10.5 kilometer secondaries. Okay. Then that means anytime someone is spotted within 10.5 kilometers, you get a 10% reload buff. No questions asked. So you push up to an island on a lot of maps opposite a cap, and oftentimes an enemy radar cruiser or other battleship will push up to that other side. Anytime they're spotted, you just get 10% DPM. It's pretty good. The other thing is Furious, another 10% for the first fire or flood on our ship. Another 5 for every subsequent fire or flood. A lot of damage. And then I'm using concealment to get into those positions, those island cover positions. It's tough without an extra heal. It's also tough without fire prevention. So staying alive with this build is going to be tricky. And I'm using this AA defense, an ASW expert skill for the 40% consumable cooldown. If there's planes around, it lets me get my damage control or my heal back quicker. But then we don't have the 5 heals. So you could certainly drop both of these, actually all 3 of these, and then go extra heals, fire prevention, get yourself some grease the gears, even go preventative maintenance to try and keep those main turrets alive. They will get knocked out still, and even permanently. Surely Wargaming realizes that's a frustrating... They removed detonations. Detonations were frustrating. Wargaming, please? Can we look at permanent module destruction? AA mounts, secondaries, main guns, torp tubes. You removed it for submarines. Submarine torps, for some reason, never get permanently destroyed. Yes, okay. I guess the protected classes, the preferred classes in this game get other rules, apparently. Oh well, we're not going to dwell on that. This is a video on Illinois, but that is something you have to worry about. What you don't have to worry about is a Citadel hit. I hate this design, man, but you get to take advantage of it here. Just go broadside. You're still going to take damage. You're going to take full pens, but you're not going to take Citadel damage. You won't get one shot, especially at closer range. There's times where some plunging fire might get through to this. I mean, it's still going to be tricky. Like, there's still a 307 here. And I don't like this. I think these ships should have citadels. I really do. Like, even this high, like, give me these citadels back. Like, it's spaced armor still, like 32 to 307 spaced. Like, how many gimmicks do we need to get people to live broadside? Let people get punished broadside again, man. It's really silly to me that we take so much damage to overmatch angled. Even you know, HE often angled can do a lot more damage than you take broadside to AP from a battleship sometimes. It's ridiculous. SAP, certainly, from Colombo. This ship will struggle against that as well. Everything does, so that's not exactly unique. But can we maybe take a little less damage when we're angled and maybe a little more when we're broadside as a trade-off? I don't know. Perhaps I don't understand. But that's my perspective on it. As far as Illinois is concerned, though, definitely a recommend for me. I think these ships are very difficult to grind. You do need those 5 tier 10s, and then you have to reset. I probably should be showing this in these videos because people may not know. Once you get 5 tier 10s, then you suddenly are able to reset. And actually, we got a 2x multiplier here. Let me just run through it for you now that we're here. This is what I will do, and often a lot of people who have a ton of free XP laying around. I don't recommend you save all your free XP just to do this. I think it's much more effective if you're grinding through a line to actually use your free XP to get yourself upgrade modules. So I would save my free XP to when let's say I was grinding out Mogami. I just bought Mogami. I would buy the B hull with free XP. That's what I would do with my free XP. If you're starting the game, save it for especially hull upgrades, because the extra HP that you gain, as well as oftentimes it's going to give you rudder shift. It's going to help you a lot. Sometimes armor as well. It's a big deal to get the hull upgrades. And I would oftentimes be saving my free XP for that if I was newer to the game. But if you have a lot of free XP, this is what you do. Perugamo is the cheapest one to reset, and you just do this, continue, and you do it once every 3 months to get this 2x bonus. Usually you only get 10,200, but here we get 20,400 because every 3 months you get a reset. So there it is, next 3 months. So now we've reset it. We'd have to regrind through to actually pick up the research points here. But what I can do, since I have so much free XP laying around, we just do that. And there you go. So that's what experienced players are going to be doing. If you're new to the game, again, don't save your free XP for that. Use it for stock modules, especially hull upgrades. That's the biggest one. And if you're experienced, that's the strategy. And you get multipliers. So you don't have to play through it every single time. Only play through it when there's something that you want to buy. And then you can play one game in co-op. Any type of battle as a win or get 300 base XP. One co-op game, very easy to just play, 5 or 6 co-op games, and you've got it. So very easy to do that. You can see on these lower ones, haven't even played them. 10x reset there. That number I've seen up pretty high. I think I've seen 40 or 50 on a friend's account. But that happens when you've played the game for a very, very long time, and you can get that free XP. But for newer players, maybe not so much. But that is going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about Illinois. And yeah, this is one to grind, though, for sure. This one is just so unique. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.